Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of HR to CHRO podcast. And today we have Mr. V. Prem Kumar with us. And like some of the CHROs, HR heads who joined our podcast, he also started his career in sales and then he shifted to HR. So from sales, he first moved to ABC Consultants, Boyden, and then he joined HR in Philips Software. Then he joined Ucent. Then he was at Cisco, APJC leader. Then at VMware, Broadcom, and now he's head HR at Omnissa for Asia Pacific. So thanks, Prem. Thanks for giving us time. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Amit. Really looking forward to the conversation.
All right. So see, one question which is very intriguing is many of the CHROs, in fact, a very significantly large proportion of CHROs, HR heads, they started their career not in HR, in some other field. Now, this is something which I find unique to HR maybe. Because in sales, I come from sales background. I haven't seen so many people from finance who join into sales or HR who join into sales. And is that a secret recipe? So to move from to the CXO level in HR, does it help if you start your career in operations or sales or business development or some other domain? That would be my first question.
Yeah, it's a great start actually, segue into 30 plus years of my career. Exactly. So I'm an engineer by profession.
Yeah.
So those days, it is before slightly before the IT revolution started, right? So I did my mechanical engineering and then my MBA in marketing. So my first aim those days when I finished my MBA was, yeah, I have to become a CEO of a company or I have to head sales and marketing of a large organization. That's been my dream. But everything is not as you plan. There are things that come our way. So one of the big learnings for me through this journey is embrace things that come to you, right? So you can have a fixed plan, but there are things that gets thrown at you as you move along, your path.
Right.
There are different interceptions. There are different paths that come to your doorstep, and then you decide at that point in time. So don't negate some of those things, saying that I just have one goal as my not star, and I just followed that. So to me, interestingly, as I got into sales initially 3 4 years, I was very successful in my selling. So I had an opportunity to look at consulting. So I moved from pure hardcore product selling. Now I've sold things like engineering products like couplings, pulleys, gearbox. So really shop floor maintenance, machinery. I've dirtied my hands with a lot of senior folks in the industry. So from there, that's my start. And then I had an opportunity to get into consulting, and that was a little bit connected closer to HR and talent acquisition those days. We call it as search. So I had the opportunity to really learn something different, and it had a flavor of selling. It had a flavor of processes. It had a flavor of execution, and all the way up to realization. So I thought this is a nice complete circle I can experience for a while. So I tried that for a few years and I was reasonably successful. I launched Search those days, 25 years ago, when people haven't heard about Search in Bangalore. That's how Boyden came into my life and was very successful in launching and driving new clients with Boyden. And subsequently, while working with Boyden, as you know, we always deal with our customers. And when you do a good job with customer, they always appreciate you. So that's another input I like to give our people listening. Whatever you do it once, you do it well, and people will appreciate it. So I think one of my deliveries or outcomes was appreciated by Philips, and they offered me to join them in the HR function. And as you know, Amit, I wasn't very keen initially because it's a staff function. I'm coming from, selling revenue. I'm bringing money to the company. But I said, let me try it. I shouldn't say no. And it was an MNC those days. There were a few MNCs that came in late 90s. And we were just in the beginning of our big growth in India and in tech field. So I took it up as a challenge to learn something new. And believe me, that's like 25 years now. I've just stayed on. I thought it'll be 2 years journey, but it's now 25 years in HR. So I've loved every bit of it. I've gone through different functions, sub functions within HR that has helped me to grow and do what I'm doing today.
Very nice. So for the sake of our viewers, Prem has 30 years experience, though he may not he may not look like it by God's grace. So regular exercise and diet control is again something we'll touch on in today's time. It's very important towards the end of the session. So two very interesting points which come up, Prem, is, see, one I want to start with that people who reach a CXO level or high position in HR, in case they start from some other domain, from sales or from consulting or operations, does their ability to put themselves in other departments person's shoes, does it improve, and does it help them in crafting better policies, or how important is it for a HR professional, a upcoming HR professional, to know more about people from the other department, their challenges, their thought processes? How important is that?
To me, Amit, as I mean, not 25 years ago, but as we speak today, it's even more, critical for us to understand from the other's point of view. I think each of the functions have evolved quite a bit in the last decade or two. And we used to, own our own functions and say, I'll do A, B, C, and then I'll go and deliver those to a customer. But I think typically there was no marketing involved. So today you start with the customer.
Correct.
Start with where the organization is going. So to me, I'll go one step up, and not just the departments or divisions that we have, but I would like to understand as an HR professional in the company and all the people in HR to really understand what the company is doing in detail. What is the impact the company is doing to its customers? I start with there. Then you know your products and solutions that the company is offering. And it could be anything, right? A to Z. Once you have these two, you are in a much better position to understand what our internal customers are looking for.
Okay.
What is our role in HR? Fundamentally, Amit, it is we are an enabler.
Mhm.
Enabler for the organization to flourish, perform, and drive the business outcome that is set aside for the year. And that's our goal. And of course, longer term. So my view to your question is absolutely start with outside in, and then start building. And I also drive the mindset of my own team and the people that I work with is around keeping the same thought process. Do not look at it from your point of view all the time. What you deliver, there must be an impact and an outcome for somebody, an input to somebody else. Why are you doing this? Because if you don't have value in what you deliver, it has no meaning in the company.
Correct.
So today, and as you move forward, it's all about understanding what the requirements are and delivering to those. And of course, in certain areas, I would like to lead. I like to lead my leadership team members and the organization as such in certain areas. And that's where the experience, exposure, and ability to take the organization forward comes in. Because I'm just not an HR leader to me. I am more an organizational leader. So I play multiple hats, and HR is one of them. So I work very closely with my leadership forum and driving the outcome for the company.
Very nice. So see, we talked about since the starting, embracing things which come to you, getting the appreciation of the customers and the internal, external, and internal customers, taking up challenges like you decided to move from sales, in which you were relatively successful, to HR, an entirely different thing, and it's such a big challenge, and you were able to take that challenge. What else are your secrets of success? We also talked about being
Yeah.
an measuring the impact and the mindset and the outcome that we have should be an input for the other department. But what else? See, why am I asking this is, in today's world, it is very important for youngsters and people at any level to understand that there are some basic universal truths which are important for one's success. So, what are those truths? What are those secrets of success that you would point out to youngsters?
You're absolutely right. I mean, gone are the days when you have a single individual star in the company.
Correct.
Yeah, so there are researchers done today which talks about great teams, not great individuals anymore. Of course, you need individuals who will make these teams. So always the outlook for me is, can I create best teams in the organization or top teams in the organization, not top individuals. We always talk about top talent. We rarely talk about top teams.
Very nice.
And then we can clone these top teams to other departments to see if are there some common traits that we can pick up and deliver. and also build the other leaders with these, because some of the cultures will be same within the divisions in the same organization. So that's one element. The second success is just taking the teams along with you. You're not an individual player, so keep your egos aside. You can't win every battle. So go and fight battles that make sense for you, your team, and the organization. And sometimes you have to stand up and say no. And over a period of time, I think credibility comes in when they see you consistent. I can I can be in some way not aligned to something that's going on with my co-workers or my peer group, but I think with time they realize why I am for it or against it. So as long as you're consistent, it has value, meaningful outcome for them to be successful, they will start trusting you. So trust becomes a very, very critical component of how you become successful in your role, and also just not you, your own teams, right? Because today your teams are small, but you work with larger extended teams,
Correct.
especially large projects. People don't report to you, but you have to work with them.
Correct.
And multinational or global companies, you have people across different countries, different cultures, different time zones. So you have to start managing these things in a very unique manner that will bring about the oneness that you talk about in the company. And once you get all these things aligned, they all will produce results. Believe me. You don't need to tell them. I usually do that because I delegate a lot. I empower people, and I like to look at it from outside in. But I'm always on top of things. But end of the day, you got to give time, space, freedom to people so that they can perform the best in their particular roles. So these are some of the things. I think networking is very important in not just today, but even yesterday, and will be more tomorrow, both internal and external. So you got to socialize, take some key projects that come your way, be visible in the company, right? Do what is good. So people must realize that you are doing all this for a good cause.
Very
It
nice.
is not for my personal growth or my personal reasoning. It is for everybody's benefit. And external forums, participation in conferences, speaking in certain roundtables, or writing some white papers, helping and giving back to the community is equally important.
Like agreeing to take this, participate in this podcast, taking out time from your busy schedule. See, one thing I want to start to ask is to give an example, to ask you for an example. You said pick your battles, and this is so powerful. We get so worked up about even small things. But before that, you also mentioned that you are an organizational leader, not an HR leader. And this is a very powerful thought because an organizational leader in today's global times, like you said, people working in different countries, different cultures, different time zones. So you are a global organizational leader. Some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the teams are, it's becoming smaller and smaller, the teams. There is no barriers today, honestly. While each function may say, I'm responsible and accountable for ABC goals, eventually what we are all, trained today or even working through is, where is our company's goals? Is your job aligned to your company's outcome that you're looking for? So if you start, so my CEO starts with that. So that's leadership, right?
Correct.
So it all starts from the top of aligning teams, breaking the barriers. Collaboration becomes one of the key components of success, and each of the leaders demonstrate this through their chains. It becomes then a culture in the company. So I'm from that part of the world where I've seen in my previous companies at Cisco or VMware, and apparently VMware became Broadcom because it was acquired by Broadcom, and then Omnissa that you see here, right, is an offshoot of Broadcom, which was a sale which was purchased by KKR. So we are a private equity firm at this point in time. So all this transition happened through the last 3 to 4 years. I've been part of that as well. So all this, so just added to what I'm saying in terms of things can become small, round very quickly. And it's not about you versus me versus somebody. It's all about us to be successful. So if you have that mindset, and one of the things that every company I think today is going through, keeping AI aside, is the mindset of driving that one culture, one outlook, one outcome, one solution. It's become, because everything is about me, my team, my budget, my headcount, and what I have to deliver and my growth, right? If you shift that to ours, I think every company will benefit and will grow much faster.
Very nice. Very powerful. All right. So some examples where you mentioned keeping ego aside. That is one I would like to ask some examples on that. But also first to pick your battles. So some example where this helped you and you decided to let go of something else and then focus on something else, which was more important. If, in case you can share some example from your journey.
Yeah, I think the first one, sorry, what was the first point you asked about this ego part, right? Yeah.
Ego aside, yes.
Yeah. My personal belief is that I don't take anything personal in the office.
Okay.
That's my first. I tried to digest that as much as possible in the
Okay.
last many years, right? Because we are all doing this for the organization. And when somebody responds or reacts in a way that the outcome is something is felt by you, or what I do is felt by somebody else. There is a touch point. Somebody feels good about it, somebody is neutral about it, and someone feels bad about it. Let's face that, right? So none of these things, when I face it, I take it personally. Because someone is doing it not because it's because of Prem. It's my role that I'm playing in the company.
Correct.
Outside, we may be best of friends, but in office, that we may have a different opinion. And that's okay, because we all have to drive. Sometimes, it's good to disagree. But of course, let's not get into physical fights and things like that. But nice to have conversations, hard, decision-making process, because that will have a long-lasting, what do you call, value for the outcome as well as the company. So that's what I meant by keeping egos aside. I still go back to the same person and say hello.
Okay.
Okay. I may like the person, not like the person, but at work, I need to work with everybody. And that's the feeling I have. So I don't take that stress in that. And believe me, again, we all work in different projects and initiatives. So we are bound to meet all these people again in the company, especially at a certain level and above, you will meet across everyone. So why continue to have that? And if you reach a level, I would suggest everyone to have a personal one-on-one.
Okay.
Sort it out outside, not in a group meeting. That will yield better results. And sometimes, you can come back as one team again in the future. So that's one part of the ego, and how you can handle the personal versus professional environment, right? And then what was your second question is about,
Picking
which
your
battles
battles.
to
So
fight, right?
don't-
Yeah. It's very interesting, especially for somebody like me who have been in the region, and the corporate office is somewhere else.
Correct.
You can't win all the battles, believe me. Right? Again, so the challenge comes in if your business leaders are going to come to you with 10 things that we need to do in the region or in the country. I'll take India as an example. Um, yes, so some of them are top priority. Some may be good to have. Some may be something that is a wish list, right? So what I typically do is I try to prioritize that. If there are 7 or 8 items that we need to work together at the country or regional level, I pick up the top few, 2 or 3, then I go after it and try to, because there's a lot of negotiation that happens both at the peer level and within the organization, wherever you're reporting into. So one should be very good in negotiation, influencing. And you don't need to be a leader's role, playing a leader's role to have a negotiating and influencing power. You can do it and try it out at every level. And I would urge all the people here listening in to try it out. Do not run away from it. So once you do these two and have a good rationale behind why you are proposing a particular change or a new insert into the policies, it could be cost impact, it could be talent, it could be resource impact. There could be so many things that could come in the way. But if there is a justification and a rationale, the why this will have a better impact to the company, I haven't seen leadership team, completely negating it and keeping it aside, unless, of course, there is a financial impact or any of those things from a priority standpoint. So I would urge everybody to prioritize. Don't go after everything that you want to do. And typically in HR, as an example, Amit, compensation is a key fact. Okay, I'll take that because it's a pet topic for everybody.
Correct.
Every leader wants the maximum for their teams,
Correct.
right? Every country wants a maximum budget for their country.
Correct.
So how do you play that role as a global citizen for the company? You are a HR leader, not just for the country, but I'm part of the leadership team of the company. So how do I play that role? So that's a classic example of going and pitching in and saying, yes, comp, this is the ask of the comp, but I'm sure we can't do all the 10 items, but I need A, B, and C because of these reasons. And that's going to have a big impact to the business. So if you pitch in as A, B, C examples, and prioritize, I'm sure you will win at least some of them. And that brings more credibility into the system, which the leaders are looking in you, because they can't solve all the problems. You're here to help them, get solutions for those problems. And sometimes it's not even a problem, it's a perceived problem.
Correct.
You got to also understand which ones to again go after if it is really not a problem. And I have this challenge again, Amit, as an example. People tell me, oh, I'm going to lose these people to A, B, C companies because we don't have these benefits here. And my first question is, show me the numbers, right? So if you go with data, and if you go with good understanding of your market, your peer group competitor companies, and where your skill sets are being bought or sold to, I think it is a good position for the HR leader or the HR team members to flourish and support the business.
Very nice. See, these are also wisdom, Prem. Why? I'll tell you there are two, 3 points. See, one is um, you, like you talked about, you have to be consistent and build that trust in the people around you, not only in your teams, but also the colleagues at you. Because once they see that you are coming where you are coming from and you have the larger good at heart, then they start trusting you and going with what you are saying. That is a very powerful point, which I would ask you to speak a bit more. Why is it very powerful? Because the brand equity that you create in today's world for the youngsters, it's very important. See, in my career, I worked in the corporate world for around 15, 20 years. I saw people who were narrow-minded falling by this side, and they did not rise higher than the mid-level. Even now, I see their career journey. Where are they? They generally don't reach, narrow-minded people generally don't reach the senior level. They fall somewhere in between. So for the youngsters to have that open-mindedness and having the larger picture in mind, it is very important. That is one point which
Yeah.
youngsters should know. Second is being on top of the things, like you said, going with the numbers. Show me the numbers, because unless you are good at what you do, so
Yeah.
hard work again is very important. Only that will make the people trust you and believe you that you have the larger good at heart. So
Yeah.
these 2 points. But firstly, at younger level or when we start our career, there is a lot of insecurity, lack of self-belief, and we may look at things from a different paradigm. How to handle that for a youngster? How to handle that?
I think, old school of thought. Mentorship is very important.
Okay.
I would recommend mentors straight away when you're from the campus. I mean, even at that level, entry level, have and not necessarily just one mentor. You can have 2 to 3 mentors, 4 mentors, and they could be anybody, somebody in the organization, a few from industry that you have. You always look up to some people. I've done that when I was early in my career. I always looked up to a few people and say, yeah, that's a great trait as a leader. Maybe some things I would like to learn and become when I start managing those levels of roles in companies. And so people look up to others, and you can never be that person. So I want to make that clear to everybody, right? I love to be Shah Rukh Khan, but I cannot, right? So, but you can take some traits from Shah Rukh Khan. I like to do that. He's confident, bold, whatever he does thoroughly. He's a great entertainer. I mean, he's got some great qualities. So maybe you pick those and try to learn, practice, and start somewhere small. And that's another thing that people always don't have the patience, because they want to jump to the last stage.
Correct.
It doesn't work that way. I mean, if you're gifted, I agree, Amit. You can rise to that occasion, and some people are lucky. But the majority, which is 70-80% of the population, need to work hard to get there.
Correct.
So pick the traits, understand. So mentorship plays a very big role. I always ask one question at the beginning of the year to everybody. Do you have your set of goals for this year?
Okay.
And can you believe, Amit, what is the answer to most of it?
I can understand.
Yeah. So I urge again, have 3 to 5 goals for which the company is paying you for. Write it down, discuss with your manager, seal it. End of 6 months, when the review happens, open this again, or you can open it even through the year, but this becomes your documentation that you will discuss with your manager. There are no ifs and buts. I versus you, my thinking versus your thinking. It is all black and white. That will help you, and okay, some of my old thoughts coming back, Amit. I used to call something as CID,
Okay.
Which is a critical incident diary.
Okay.
So every month, write something in that diary.
Okay.
Something that went very well, something that didn't go well, or was a disaster. And note it down. And that could be you, your team, or your boss, whatever or your key stakeholders that you're working with. This becomes your key data point when discussions happen about you. And you always have, because what happens, the recency effect comes in. And typically, if you screwed up the last quarter, that's what is being discussed, not the greatness that you produced the previous quarter. So I would urge all viewers to write down every month what you did well, not well, your learning. Another question I have for everybody is, do you have a dev plan?
Do you have a
development plan?
Oh, very nice.
And again, 90% of the people may have it in their mind, or majority may have it in bits and pieces. But I have a goal. I want to become expert X in the company. I want to go to the next level. But what's a path? And most companies promote people when you start operating at least 25% in the next grade. You got to demonstrate that ability in the current role. Nobody's going to ask you, come, let me give it to you, and then you start showcasing. That doesn't happen anymore. In fact, today I'm seeing you have to showcase 50% of what you can do in the next grade right now, because competition, the number of promotions are limited, so on and so forth. Everybody will know. So these are a couple of things I would call out as examples of what you can do. These are basic things. There's nothing substantial, but mentorship, written down documentation about yourself, and just be truthful to yourself. Be authentic in what you do. If you made mistakes, raise your hand and say, I need to learn. Don't repeat the same mistake again, but everybody grows with mistakes. Yeah.
Very powerful. See, in my workshops, especially the mid-level manager, when I ask them, like you said, goal setting and the path. So when I ask them that when was the last time in the last 1 year, how many of you spend at least half an hour thinking about your career goals, about your planning, about the courses that you need to do, hardly one person out of 30, 40 would raise their hands. So, so people don't that wish list everybody would be having, that I want to become the CEO, but that path, like you said, the plan, that very few people do. Networking, mentorship, see, these are so powerful tools which everybody has. See, but the question is, from a young person's point of view, like we mentioned, that he has to work hard, he has to do good work to gain the trust. So, and he or she also has to learn about the other departments, to empathize, to put himself or herself in the other department's shoes. How does one do that? Excel in their own profile, their own KRAs, and then learn about other people's other departments, what they do, and then also do mentorship, look for mentors, do networking. How does one plan that? How does one go about that?
It's a great point, Amit, you have raised. I'll come to this in a second, but I also want to touch upon the previous point again, just conclude on that. I think at the entry level, what you said is good, but at the middle level and as you go senior, people like you, Amit, your company, Kushalta and others, and there are many in the industry, they play a very key role as well, because you're bringing a very different perspective when you do your trainings. And because you are learning from various companies, right? Some of the challenges that they do. So along with mentorship, I urge that talk to people of different types of consulting opportunities in the market, because they connect with so many different industries. And another, I think, consistent way we don't grow is because we stay within the same domain.
Okay.
Tech people only understand technology and tech companies. When I go for CHRO meeting, a lot of times I just meet CHROs from tech sector. But I love to meet people, CHROs and other CXOs from other domains. engineering, industrial, consumer, pharma, because the learning is immense when you're there. And you believe that each of us believe that my industry, my company is the best. But when you go out there and meet people, you realize you will be humiliated in many ways. And then you can pick up so many learnings that others are doing so well, because the maturity of the organization really provides some of these to be successful. So that's one part I just wanted to call out. And then sorry, I forget your question now that you asked me.
So let's continue this. Can you share an example on when you learned from the other domains? When you met somebody from the other domain, a CHRO or a CXO, and then some learning that you took, which helped you in your current role?
Oh, I mean, it could be simple processes that I talked about. I mean, I'll just take one as um, eh, performance management as simple. It's a simple thing. Different companies do it slightly differently. So
Okay.
in one of my conversations in a round table, and not from the tech world, right? Because we do it in a particular way, and most of our peer group companies do it very similarly. But when you look at it from a manufacturing industry, there are so many factors that come into play.
Okay.
And when I look at not just the R&D software and those kind of what do I say, roles, but if I look at sales,
Mhm.
the way some companies evaluate sales organization is so very different.
Okay.
So I have seen a performance management approach slightly different in different functions within the same company. And that's a big learning for me. Well, we always say that can you be consistent about driving uniform ways of doing things, but it's not necessary, because the way each function responds, manages, and delivers is very different. The software engineering R&D organization is very different from the corporate functions that we are, the roles that we play. So sometimes the elements that you capture in each of those and the processes that you follow need not be consistent. And sales is another great example of where we can bring in, because it's all numbers. It's about market expansion. It's about how do you manage your partner organization. And so the assessment for those are going to be very different, even including the behavioral aspects, not necessarily tangible. You've got to have a different frame of mind as a sales leader or a salesperson than somebody who's sitting and doing finance.
Correct.
So you calling those out and then analyzing it and then assessing them for each of those functions are going to be very different in the future. And
Very.
I see more companies doing this, not having one global ways of doing things. Of course, it helps organization to be consistent, but if you want talent to be progressive, and I'll ask another question. Many companies are asking this now. What is the skill set do we need in the next 18 months?
Mhm.
And is the current talent pool that you have, will it suffice,
Mhm.
even with training,
Mhm.
to meet those requirements? Because till now we never asked those questions. We believe that the same roles will continue in 5 years' time, but those roles are not going to be there. And thanks to AI and other automation tools, definitely roles are going to change, for which we don't even know what skills are required at this point in time in
Correct.
2 years, right? So these are the challenges that we have in that performance management example, where we need to start looking at how do we manage performance for the future talent that we require.
I think it again comes down to the point that you mentioned of mindset, the mindset that you want your team to have of looking at the larger picture. Similarly, when you start looking at things from somebody else's point of view, from a different domain,
Yeah, yeah.
the fixed mindset that one may have may change and you may be more open, which is very powerful. All right. So the question I had asked earlier was for a young HR professional or for a young professional in any domain, they have to do so many things. They have to handle so many things at a single time, especially being excelling in what they do, and then doing things other than that, learning about the other departments, which is so very important in HR especially, and also doing mentoring, looking for mentors, doing networking. So how does one manage that? Then goal setting, planning. How does one do that?
Nothing, no magical word there. It is so it's a process, right? When you start, because you are transitioning from a college. Recently, I was in one of the management colleges to talk about exactly this. How do you transform from a entry level into an entry level load from a college? So you can be a star in your college, but it could be very different in the work environment. You're not exposed to it. So I
Correct.
think internships helps when you work with. So I would urge all viewers to do one or two internships definitely during the course of their curriculum.
Mhm.
It can be anybody, and it doesn't matter, right? When you're going to anything you do is learning at that stage. Don't worry about finances and things like that. Even if it's free, just go learn, understand how companies work. I've sat down with people and said, what are the different functions in a company? I mean, start with that. And
Correct.
what do they do and why are they there, right?
Correct.
You know, so that's a good starting point for the starters, even before they join a corporation, right? So make use of the internship. Come into many good companies set up 6 months training. It could be on the job. It could be having few mentors in different fields. Some of them even rotate other functions, other
Correct.
group roles. So they go in and they are able to really understand how those functions are working and what is the input into where you will be delivering, right? So why is operations team sitting there? So things like that. So at the end of the day, the most important piece for a youngster is openness. Keep aside what you learned,
Mhm.
keep that as your base because that's your foundation, your college. And then first 3 years, and I also will urge people not to quit jobs very fast.
Okay.
So if you can stay a few years, at least 2 to 5 years in a particular organization, see, because I respect people when they go through ups and downs in the same organization. There are people who come to me when I interview. Oh, I put 18 months in the company and I've been phenomenal in 18 months. Very unlikely that you can master something in 18 months in a large organization.
Correct.
You get to know your role in 6 months really well. You
Correct.
get to know the organization in a year, and then it takes so much of time that for it to really produce some results for you, right? So at this stature is when people need to unlearn and then learn something new.
Very nice. See, again, from the youngsters' point of view, one thing which you mentioned, taking up key projects and accepting whatever comes to your side. See, initially in my career, like I was in HP. So HP, that time they used to change the territory, the geography to grow the person. Because if you are working in, let's say, UP, and then you move to Hyderabad, then different challenges and you grow, and then the company is trying to groom you for a larger role so that you have a, but the mindset of me and generally people was to avoid that because you would be in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Where you have mentioned that taking up key projects or accepting whatever is coming to you. Some example, if you could share, like you shared one example that you moved from sales to
Yeah.
HR. So that is one. But any other in your job, in your career journey?
Yeah, I think I'll take myself as an example. So, sales to consulting was my first change in
Correct.
4 years' time. And that was very big change because selling is different from consulting. So it took me a while to understand consulting, different aspects of it. And then what do you need to do to be successful with yourself, with your teams, with your customers? Because you have everybody in the consulting world. Then when I moved into a multinational company in HR, your ecosystem is very different, right? Your stakeholders are very different. So managing the different sets of stakeholders are going to be very critical.
Mhm.
So that's one big thing that you do. And for me, as an example, even within my HR function, I've gone through multiple roles, multiple rotations.
Okay.
So another thing I like to call out to the viewers here is do not stay. If you really want to grow, fast track yourself, learn. Forget one part is growth. The second thing is just learning, right? Move across functions within the larger HR group as well. So we have compensation. We have COEs today: compensation, benefits, mobility, employee relations, talent acquisition. These are all large scale, impactful roles within the company.
Mhm.
And then you have the business partners or the client facing. We call it. I mean, different names in different companies. Nomenclatures are very, very different. But whatever you do, And then there is leadership roles. Like I play a regional role.
Okay.
So the question comes in is, what is your passion? One, what
Mm-hmm.
is your capability? And where do you want to grow into? Then you pick and choose couple of, and that's where I think, Amit, I've talked about the development planning.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to grow into the next role, can I write down 2 or 3 things that I must do, which is not my great strength right now,
Okay.
but which will help me to gain that knowledge, expertise
Mm-hmm.
to apply for that role or even be considered for that role. So I would urge people to go through COE roles. If for people who are in the business partnering roles, to go through at least couple of them in their a
Okay.
lifetime. So it could be in the first 10 years, 15 years of my time. So personally, I've done talent acquisition, compensation operations, and employee relations as part of COE. Being in part of the team, I've led these teams. And then, of course, I've managed things in the client on the HR business partnering side, both as an individual contributor, as a people leader, and then both within the country as well as beyond the country. So these things will really help. And the last one I would urge people is to pick up projects, initiatives that come your way, which is aligned to your passion, capability, and interest, which will help you to learn, be visible, and grow.
Even if
So
it's taking you out of your comfort zone.
if you want to grow, there is less comfort. I mean, there has to be pain for growth,
Correct.
right? You can't be so there are people who are happy. If you want to just cruise, it's also fine. I mean, you're doing well in your current job, your expectations are there, it's meeting your financial requirements, you're happy with your team and what you do. Those were, I think, good years ago, but today you can't predict what can happen tomorrow, right? All of a sudden, you may be moved, your division may be downsized, or something else, a merger will happen, and then you will be forced to take something else for which you need that flexibility, ability to learn very quickly, and open mind again. So everything. So I'll go back, Amit, back to mindset. Okay, so one of my good some friends who have told me one of the big success for me has been because of my mindset. That
Correct.
I'm open, I'm willing to learn. I take feedback very well, both good, bad, ugly. I can take it. It can hurt. I agree, right? The ugly ones can hurt you, but take it. It's what it is, and then work on it. See that you can demonstrate it back to them, and always go back to people and have that conversation. I think it'll be in a better stance when you do that rather than staying away and not connecting back. So these things will really help people. And believe me, again, you never know who will be your peer in the future,
Correct.
who will be part of your team, and who will be your boss.
Correct. You keep on meeting the same people in the industry in a 20-year career, 25-year career.
You could be caught in this web. So just be cautious about what you do.
Correct.
It's not a one-time transaction. It's a lifelong career journey transaction.
Correct. Very nice. Very powerful. So, see, one question is, like you mentioned that you have to do 25% of the next role. Only then the organization is going to promote you, for example, 25% to 50%. And nowadays it
Please
should
don't quote me to that. Hold me to
so
that.
we should aspire to do that. See,
I,
unless I'm the best, I read it in a story I was reading some long back that a person was a secretary, but he knew that unless he's the best personal secretary in the world, he would not move on to the next level. So he had to be the best, and he had to do tasks which were beyond his role. I mean, over and above the role. But before that, see, as a youngster, when I started, for the first 4 5 years, we would compare the packages of our peers, of our classmates. Acha, he or she is getting so much, and I am only getting this much. So, the mindset of learning, the mindset of development, how much does it get affected by the noise around you, especially related to money, and how to counter that?
oh, it's there across, not just at the entry level. It's right across, right? People tend to know, and there's always a comparison. You compare within your company, you compare with your peers, and especially as you grow, you have more people in the industry you have worked with, you have studied, and
Correct.
you have made friends.
Correct.
So your reach is even more. And when you are in social gatherings, you always look at, okay, there are openings here, this company is paying X dollars, this is the benefit Y company is giving. It's bound to happen.
Correct.
And we are humans. We want to listen, we want to understand that we always want to benchmark also and see, are you competent, right, in terms of your compensation? So one of the things I have learned is, see, it's a dilemma that I go through. If you stay long in a company, typically you can be a little bit lower than the industry benchmark because your percentage increases per year is not 25% as you get when you change a job.
Correct.
Right? It could be single digits, etc. So 15 years in a company, you are getting single digit growths or maybe 10% salaries, 15%, etc. But if you make two changes in the middle, you can get up to 50%. And that's what a lot of people do. So suddenly you will see a dip in where you stand versus peer. So I would call Amit, it's all about what you want in life. Certainly money is important. But there are larger things than that. Money will follow you, in my view, is when you do things well, when you are honest to yourself, to your job, to your company. Like I said, credibility, integrity, trust. Three things non-negotiable. So all of you listening who will hear me out again and again, these three things right through my career, I have been propagating this, I've been demonstrating this. So I would like all of you to follow this. But some of these things may not lead to, only this may not lead to your passion. So you got to have mix of competency, skills, and smartness, because you have to sometimes leapfrog into something else to get to that level. But your foundation has to be the same. You can't change your value systems because you want to achieve some things faster. That's a short-term thing. There are people who do it and get away with it too. Right? But today, I would urge people to be consistent and be honest. Integrity and credibility are two biggest things that each of us can carry anywhere. And that's a great feeling, right? When somebody says, okay, Amit may not be great in this, but I can trust him. I mean, that feeling is the greatest that I can get. If I'm Amit, I would be very happy listening to that. So those would be the big challenges that you need to face because you're forced to do many things as well because of the environment. But then you play that big role.
Very nice. So see, this is what universal truths are all about, and this is what in our ancient wisdom, our scriptures, Gita, all those books also talk about the same things. I'm sure the books of all the religions, they also talk about these things only: being open-minded, being accepting, ability to let go, hardworking, planning, development. I mean, so this is so powerful. So coming back to my question earlier, so how does one young professional or any professional can look at what his or her supervisor is looking for, or the KRAs or KPIs of the supervisor, and how to start contributing towards that, how to have that vision, how to think from the supervisor's point of view.
I think I touched upon this earlier, Amit. It starts with your goal setting.
Okay.
When you set your goals and discuss with your managers, straight away there is an alignment. No manager is going to say, my goals are A, B, C, and you have put X, Y, Z, it's okay. They would want a pieces of A, B, and C in their goals.
Okay.
Otherwise, there is no alignment. So put it down in writing, have the discussion, and most importantly, listen to the senior leadership's communication.
Okay.
Usually CEOs communicate larger to the larger audience in terms of what the vision is, what do you want to achieve the first quarter, second quarter, and so on and so forth. Attend those sessions, read those emails, and feel that, yes, my role, what I'm doing, has something to do with what he's talking or she's talking about. That's the first part. Second, I would urge all of you to go and attend any company meeting. Do not say, I'm busy with this delivery or this action, this customer. There are possibly 2 or 3 company level gatherings or all hands or even your business unit, leadership connects, etc. Do not miss even one of them. It gives you all the necessary information and the input for you to absorb and put it into yourself while you deliver. And most importantly, regular touch up with your manager. I again do not see individuals discussing with the managers on a regular basis on their goals, performance, and outcome. It's all about work outcome. It's all about project deliverables. It's all about numbers. Pipeline building is one part. Customer issues is another part. Escalations is another part. When are we going to talk about me? Okay, I had these 5 things to do this quarter. Tell me what I have done good, what I have not done well. If you don't have that conversation, then I think there is something missing. So carve out, I think this is where Akshay Kumar said it very nicely. You touched upon health in the beginning. He said, if you can't keep, I mean, he's a great health freak, as you know, right? Actor. So he said, if you can't carve out an hour a day for your health, all the other things are of no value.
Correct.
Right? Because it's you need to take care of yourself for your health, for the benefit of others. So I would urge the same thing with everybody. You need to take care of yourself in terms of a goal setting, development, planning, training, growth. There are enablers again. Company can do something, your leader can do something, your manager may do something, your PM may do something. But end of the day, majority of it should come from within. And that's a fundamental thing that has not changed from generations.
So we should not, a youngster should not blame his or her manager that my manager doesn't give me feedback, my manager is not discussing my goals with him or with me. So it is individual's responsibility to go after the manager and ask for it.
Absolutely. You set up one-on-ones on a regular basis. And that maybe once a month, a one-on-one could be great for just discussing personal things.
Okay.
And there are different avenues, Amit, today in the company. You can anonymously write about your organizational, issues that you face to somebody. You go and talk to your HR team, go and talk to skip level, saying that I am not getting what I need. Do not waste time sitting there, feeling terrified about retaliation from my manager or will I lose my job? I mean, if you fear about all this, there is no growth for you. Then you're in the wrong place. Corporate is not for you. So be yourself, have confidence. You're here for a reason. This is not anybody's company. It's our collective company. It's a public company. It's not an individual's company. So play accordingly. Have the confidence and the gut to go and talk to people, say, how can I change this scenario? This is where mentors come into play. This is where peer group come into play. And there are avenues in companies that have set aside these things. Retaliation can come, but you need to start managing and avoiding some of them. And that's why you have different avenues for people to raise issues.
And also there's a model like you mentioned that if you are good at your what you are doing, if you are good at your job, why would your manager retaliate? Why would the manager would support you? But so first thing is that you have to be good at what you do. You have to work hard. You have to have that trust, that consistency, that credibility.
See, we can't see end of the day, Amit, everybody's a human being.
Correct.
I can predict to some extent the behaviors and patterns. But beyond that, there could be external, environmental challenges and issues. We talk about mercurial effect. Normal circumstances, we behave in a particular way, and that's what is seen by everybody. And you are consistent. But there are times when you are under pressure. The person can flip completely. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Correct.
But you can manage it better.
I understand.
And anticipate it better. And because, again, in an environment, it's all managed by majority of the things, which I'll touch upon when we close. I have a few points to talk about. You do what you can do.
Correct.
You leave others to do what they have to do. You can give feedback. You can't change their behavior.
Correct.
You cannot, but somebody else may be able to do it. But you can provide feedback to the person or to somebody else who has an influence. That's why negotiation, influencing capacity, some of these things are very, very critical in corporate world, irrespective of which function you are in, which level you work. All these are, I would say, big sustenance requirements.
I was reading one of the autobiographies of a very successful Australian captain where he said that captaincy is 90% luck. Only 10% is in your hands, but you have to be jolly well excellent at the 10%.
I tell you don't know. The magic wand just comes in and you sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen. In cricket, you see that, this matches are going on right now. The ball just sticks to your hand.
Correct.
what to do.
Correct.
And simpler ones just pop out,
Correct.
right? There's no explanation to that.
Correct. So we also touched upon before we move towards that thing. So we touched upon apart from spending time understanding the organizational goals, listening to CEOs' addresses, and reading the emails. You also said that the world is changing very fast. That in 18 months' time, the things may completely change. So how should one have that future vision, starting from the junior level itself? How to read books, to how does to how to have that future vision.
Yeah, it's a challenging thing, and they're facing it right now as we speak. Because when we started 30 years ago, things were more stable. You had some time to learn, but things are different now, right? I mean, you see companies suddenly moving entire division to something else. Mergers happen. Companies are bought from, left, right, center very quickly. Some are eaten away. So you don't have time to respond to these,
Correct.
honestly, right? One, it hits you emotionally, and you're trying to figure out what's in it for me,
Correct.
even when it doesn't hit you, right? So again, what's not in your control, leave it. One of my ex-managers many years back told me, just focus on what you have to do at that point in time. So when you worry about what will happen, yes, you can only worry about it.
Correct.
But what you can manage today is you contribute to what is being told. Whether it's an M&A, then do help the M&A in whichever way you can. Be positive. Your attitude. So I never touched upon this word attitude. I think to me, that's one of the most important piece in your career. Have the right attitude at the right time. That will help you. Companies hire people mainly because of attitude at a certain level and above. Because you can always train people on skills.
Correct.
Selling skills to C++ to AI, you can always train. The multiple courses are there. But attitude, there are no courses. You can try. I mean, I don't want to put spoke in your business, Amit. But it takes at a certain senior levels, yeah, people understand, but then behavioral changes because the underlining the values that you have, the root of the value is not going to change very easily. So we have, what do we have? Values, we have attitude, and then you have behaviors. If you really look at that tree, right? So behaviors can be changed very quickly.
Correct.
Because it's seen by everybody. It's how you talk, how you behave. That is a behavior. Attitude is one below that. There are some historic reasons why your attitude is like that. There are some life-changing incidents that has happened, which is why you have that attitude. Okay. And then there is core value, which is developed from birth, your DNA, your upbringing, your school, your close friends. That is your core root. Now, to attack that, to change that part, you need a life-changing incident to a large extent, because otherwise that core is going to be remain the same. So when you tackle attitude, you need to understand these three elements before you make. So simply changing a behavior is only temporary.
Correct.
But if you touch the value, you will get a permanent change in attitude and in behavior. That's the philosophy I have.
Very nice. And that's where mentors help, maybe, and people you talk to, and
The right mentors, yeah,
right.
because you need to pick the right person in the right phase of your life. That's very important too.
Well, so before we come to that, you have very little to control in your life. The final discussion point. Some points for the people at the mid level. Prem, what would
Mid
be
level
your
is the
points?
toughest part. It's the toughest part. I sometimes feel, I mean, I've been through that myself. So what happens is there is this leadership push coming in from the top, right? Because there is always a direction set. It could be cost, it could be numbers, it could be headcount, it could be deliverables, it could be quality. And the middle level managers or the senior technical leads or individual contributors are the one absorbing that.
Correct.
Then you have the bottom layers, right? The bottom maybe three layers in the company. They execute for you. And what happens is they have a lot of issues that they build it up. So they push from the bottom, and there is a push coming from the top. So the middle level, unfortunately, gets the blunt of this whole thing from both sides. And we expect a lot from this segment. So all the more reason, and I repeat this 1,000 times in my career, Pick up the people manager role only if you're passionate about it. Do not go and pick it up because it's glamorous. I have 10 people reporting to me. I can travel a little more. I have budgets to use. That's not the reason. The reason is if you can help 10 other people and you're good at navigating, taking teams along with you, ensuring the careers are taken care, both professionally, personally, then you become a people manager. Otherwise, stick to your IC role. Because I always tell people, I am complicated and it's difficult to manage myself at times. If you cannot manage yourself and you have to manage 10 to 15 people in your team,
Correct.
Look at the magnitude of and the scale of work that you need to manage. And sometimes it's just challenging and you break away.
Correct.
And then your team is unhappy, your trust doesn't come in, your deliverables are not there, productivity impacts, poor team impacts the outcome to the company.
Correct.
So I'll start with that route of being clear about you being a middle manager. Number one. Number two, if you decide yes and you have the capability, I agree that you need to support them. So I would urge the organizations, leadership members, if they are listening or wherever they are, help the middle managers, handhold them. Do not throw rubbish at them. Handhold them, help them, guide them to execution. Because you have gone through it yourself.
Correct.
So that's a better way to manage the middle segment. And do not be harsh on them as an organization. But at the same time, have guidelines, ensure, and train them very well to be middle segment managers, which we don't do very well in most companies, but we need to do better and more about it.
Correct. So to the final point, how do we control what we can control and how to have the wisdom to let go of what we can't control?
You're asking difficult questions now. So if you can't control, at least be aware that it is around, and you can lean on people who may have an influence on that. Okay. That's why back to again my foundation, networking, mentorship, peer group, have friends in the organization you can go and talk to. So that's one way to mitigate some of those challenges. Coming to what you can control, do that 100%. Okay. Correct. So you may have 10 items that you may control and 20 items that you can't control. We put all our eggs in that 20 items that you can't control. Correct. But I say just leave that. Get help from wherever possible. Be aware of those, but then go and do your 10 things very well. What happens is when you do these 10 things, it actually has a good impact and it kind of covers some of the other 20 in some way because everything is interlinked, right? Yeah. So it will fall into place. But that's why your attitude, willingness to do the right thing at the right time, having clarity in terms of your goals. Again, I'm going back to the foundation to ensure that some of these things are met and managed. Okay. Very nice. So it has been more than an hour since we started talking, Prem. And there are so many points I still have where we can lead the discussion to, but it has been lovely talking to you, but we have to stay within the time limits. So I have a couple of points to tell the audience. Please. That what not to do. Oh, okay, very nice. You have been talking about what we should do more, etc. So I would say I've written on some thought this morning. So I touched upon this already. So avoid staying in one domain, one area throughout your life, unless you're so passionate about it, right? Then you continue, but otherwise move around a little bit. You learn a lot. That's one. Most importantly, business knowledge. Understand your company, understand the products, understand your customers. I've seen many people in HR function just knowing the HR very well, but not much about the surroundings around you. You cannot be great and successful unless you know that very well, because your delivery is towards that. Correct. Start using data. The data is, I can't even imagine the data that we have in the company. We don't even use 10% of the data. Correct. So to take the right decision, do not depend on external factors alone or feedback coming in from various sources. Use the data, qualify the feedback that is coming in, and then take a decision what to do and how to go about doing it. Okay. We all tend to run away from difficult conversations. Correct. So my urge is do not. Stay right in the middle of that. Learn to handle tough conversations. You don't need to win every tough conversation, but learn through that conversation. You may win some, you may lose some, but there is a learning in everything.
Correct.
And your conversations are business oriented. Do not take it personally. Okay. I see a lot of people not, I mean, I touched upon network. Build strong network. Do not stay away from, I know there are a lot of people who are introverts. There are a lot of people who don't want to meet others. But take people along with you who are extroverts so that you have some comfort feeling. But network is very important, both internally and externally. And that's the amount of learning from outside. Okay. A couple of other things is communication. You got to start communicating precisely and at the right and in a very timely manner. You can't communicate something that happened today after a week. Preferably, if you can tell earlier, if you can, not confidential, better. Okay. Leadership presence is most important. If you want to be a leader at some point in time, and not necessarily in the role, but as an individual. I've seen great leaders at 25 who are able to, stand up, talk, communicate, have that conviction. That's extremely important. Do not run away from that. Take the opportunity to present in leadership meetings. Okay. And last but not the least, my favorite, do not focus too much on things outside your control. Sorry, these are some of the things that just came to my mind before the call.
Yeah. See, all of these points, we can have another discussion on all these points. But unfortunately, it has been so. But thank you so much for giving us time, Prem. It has been a lovely discussion, and I'm sure so many people are going to benefit so much out of it.
Thank you, Amit. I really appreciate your time and then the candid conversation that we have had today. I really enjoyed it. I wish you, Kushalta, as well as everybody, audiences and others, the best in FY 20. We call this FY 27 or 2026 year to come. So best wishes to everyone, and thanks again, Amit, and your team.
Thank you, Prem.